All right, today I'm going to go through my 5 favorite exercises for managing knee pain, specifically quad and patellar tendonitis, so we can help you better manage inflammation, regain strength, and get rid of that pain. So if you're having trouble with pain above or below your kneecap, give these a try and let me know what you think. As always, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. This is real life. All right, so this is what I normally refer to as a floating heel split squat. You can do this on a plate or you can just do it on the ground with your heel elevated. If you do it on flat ground with your heel elevated, I'd recommend getting your knee a little farther forward just so you can actually be in that neutral joint angle at your ankle. But this is great because putting that pressure on the ball of your foot really loads up that quad, that patellar and quad tendon. So it's a good way to really start re-strengthening that tendon, putting some emphasis on it, but not in like an overly forceful movement. I think that's a big thing when people have tendon inflammation and irritation. A lot of that pain discomfort comes when they take like a sudden cut and there's a lot of quick loading on that tendon. So this is a really good way to expose the tendon directly to some loading, but without really overdoing it. The next one's just a step down, and you can do this from varying heights depending on the amount of irritation you get. You can start at very low height off of a plate basically and stack that up. I'm doing it off a bench here. The goal is to go really slowly down. Tendons respond very well to eccentric loading, or at least tendon inflammation, and trying to manage that. So I really like to use a mix of isos and eccentrics, as you can probably tell, but I really like the slow eccentric with this one as it gets you more comfortable kind of loading into that quad, into that knee as you descend down, and it's very controlled. So I normally see this referred to as a reverse Nordic curl, just because it basically looks like a backwards Nordic hamstring curl. So this really loads up the rectus femoris at both ends, at the hip and the knee, because this is the muscle that inserts onto your, or becomes your patellar or quad tendon, patellar tendon. This is a really great way to load it up and get some length in there, and also load it up eccentrically. It's become a huge part of my my lower body warm-ups. Now, the next one is a little more intense, but I think one big step that a lot of people need to take in better managing that tendon pain is getting comfortable absorbing load. As I kind of mentioned before, those high force absorption of any type going through that tendon can really irritate it if it's already inflamed. So getting comfortable again through kind of ascending heights as you get more adapted to these, dropping off onto the ball of your foot and loading that tendon more suddenly and working on that quick eccentric loading is a huge part of actually returning to more high intensity activities. So once you're comfortable loading the tendon in a more controlled setting, I do recommend progressing to these depth drops, again starting low, more controlled, and less kind of forceful impacts, and then progressing up from there. So this one's called a Spanish squat, and basically what you're doing is wrapping a heavy band around an anchor point and then putting it behind your shin, below your knee. And so this shifts a lot of your weight forward and really loads up that quad and patellar tendon. So you can notice that I can shift my torso quite a bit far back here because of how that's shifting my center of gravity forward, but you'll notice that this really loads up that quad and patellar tendon and can help strengthen that in kind of a more isolated setting, even though I'm doing basically a squat here.